The Ministry of Finance officials say they are determined to ensure that the 2022-2023 financial year addresses health and economic challenges that were triggered by COVID-19 pandemic. One of the key priorities that will push socio-economic transformation, according to these experts, is the enhancement of salary for scientists in various sectors of the economy. Florence Nevanda, the Butaleja woman MP and a member of the Health Committee in Parliament, says discussions have been made with Health Ministry officials to handle pertinent issues in the sector.
The health sector is struggling, and we've already learned lessons from the COVID-19. Most of the health workers, you can hear, they are going on strike because they were not paid and yet they worked voluntarily during the COVID-19. The scientists in the education, they are also promised some monies of which they need to be paid that money because it was written in writing and a directive was given. So in this budget, we are happy that the focus was put on that. And our role as members of parliament is to ensure that once we've passed the budget, has the money reached the beneficiaries? Because there's a tendency of us passing a budget and then money directed for something that's not really appropriated for.
Milton Muoma, the Chugula South MP, says health and education are key sectors to spur development.
There's some bit of miscoordination among implementers or players, whereby when it comes to a particular policy, gender is doing its own programs, Ministry of Education is doing its own programs, Ministry of Health is doing its own program. I feel now, as we are going for PDM, Parish Development Model, that's where they are bringing all different players on board to ensure that they operate in harmony.
Civil society activists called for developmental programs that lead to economic growth.
Information is being taken up by the citizens to know how do we benefit from the budget which is being passed. So if you're talking about 5.5% GDP growth, how many jobs are we creating and how can we tap onto those chains of economic growth? For me, I think those would be the issues, ensuring that the right information trickles down to the community members, we get their voices and we prioritize. Thank you.
His counterpart from civil society budget advocacy group, Micho Ainebiona, says Uganda's biggest challenge is the ineffective implementation of various policies and programs.
And we've been noting a few revenue shortfalls, which are the main source of our budget. However, we are saying that some of these can be phased. We are saying that for the start, we can target particular areas of interest that we've raised in this dialogue. Key among these, for example, is the secondary school teachers. Can we put a fund aside that we cover at least in the first year, financial year 2022-2023, and cover that gap? And in the preceding years, we can then continue and cover the other remaining gaps.
Development policies and plans that focus on health, education and social services are possible ways towards the transformation of any country. Little can be achieved if citizens are not involved in the execution of such programs. The file was compiled by Lakiat Haire Binjira for CTV PM Edition.